Hello, gamers, and welcome to Xbot Pony. My name is Phil,
My name is Nick.
and Xbox is doomed, out of here. Not even out the gate, not even worth trying. Because why? Because Halo is dead. It is gone. It is not even in 2020, is it, Nick?
No, it's not in 2020. I don't think it's dead, Phil. It's a shock.
I'm getting flashbacks to 2013, man. It's like the console's not even out, and that's it. Bye bye. All right, ruined.
It's one of those weird things I didn't think would happen. They said they'd do it. I didn't think they'd do it, but they did it. So yeah, from an Xbox point of view, it's very weird. It's very, very weird. Traditionally, you launch with every console with some sort of big launch title. In saying that, I don't think 2013 had major launch
Rise
either. There was Rise, and it was a bit weird. There was games, there was plenty of them, but there was a lot of exclusives, but they weren't big hitters like Halo and that.
We had Knack.
Yeah, Knack was good. Yeah, and Killzone. They were. So I think, as bad as it is and as weird as it is, it's not the end of the world. Probably the right decision. Yeah.
All right, let's try and look at the
always a
positive
bad
then.
game.
So what are the positives of this being delayed? Yeah.
So the negative is, why do I need an Xbox Series X? But that question was already there anyway, because you could play it on Xbox One. Maybe. That's changed, maybe. So again, that argument was there. Why do I need a Series X? They don't want you to buy a Series X at Christmas anyway. It's buy xCloud, buy this, buy that, whatever. Play it on Xbox One. So there's no real huge incentive to buy an Xbox Series X in November at all, really, unless you want that upgrade. You want that power upgrade. Sony has Spider-Man, obviously Miles, and Astrobot, and that's the only two things they're launching with. So again, they've got something. It's better than nothing. Xbox has a couple of horror games, I think, Medium, Ascent, and now another one that they just announced, which is early 2021. But there's nothing really saying you need these consoles. Even Cyberpunk, their upgrades aren't until next year, so it's still standard console. I guess what?
But Halo, man. So like,
There's not much.
Microsoft in trouble? Let's maybe work through that. Are they in trouble?
No, because they would sell more copies of Halo if it's good than they will if it was bad. It launches this year and it gets a 70. Halo, sorry, shouldn't swear, but Halo is screwed. I'll beep that out. Halo is screwed. It is screwed. Like, this is massive. This is huge. They're not just launching this as one-off game. They want to do it as a games as service going forward. The Xbox will survive, but Halo wouldn't survive if it was bad. They can't release 3 in a row that miss the mark. So 4 missed the mark in multiplayer, 5 missed the mark in single player. This is technically 6 / a reboot. If it misses the mark anywhere, launching without ray tracing, etc., that's just bad for Halo. And Microsoft can't survive Halo failing. They can't. But they can survive without Halo this Christmas. Again, we don't know what other games are going to cop a delay. This has copped a delay. The Deathloop for Sony's just copped a delay. It would not surprise me to see Spider-Man cop a delay. I mean, not saying it's going to happen, but it would not surprise me to say, hey, you know what?
It's 2020, man. It's just that year.
I mean, we still haven't heard from Nintendo. So is this bad for Microsoft? Yes, of course it's bad for Microsoft. If they were to launch Halo in November with the Series X, it gives them a really good power advantage. It gives them a massive piece of software. Not that Spider-Man isn't massive, but we all know it's an extension. It's not a full game. I mean, if Sony was launching with Spider-Man 2, I'd say, yeah, Microsoft are in big trouble because that's a huge game. But it's not Spider-Man 2. It's like Spider-Man 1.5. So they're not in huge trouble. They're probably going to cop less sales, definitely, I'd say. I mean, they might still sell out. It depends how many they make. Sony reckon they're bringing more consoles out. But initially, yeah, that's going to hurt them initially, definitely. Yeah. But not in the long run. And it's a long game. It's not a short game.
Yeah, you're probably right, to be fair. Like, I think I agree with you. if the game is not ready,
Yeah.
if it's not ready to launch, let it have time. And you and I have discussed this, that we'd much rather a game be released when it's ready than the developers be put under crunch. That the game is sort of lacking on launch, and then you release a patch later on to fix it. Like, to me, that's not. I'd rather not receive a game in that state. So give it time and make it look next gen. Make it look awesome. Make it sure that everyone is really excited and happy with it when it comes out.
Yeah, well, they said they were tinkering with splitting it up, 3 different modes and releasing them at different times, but that doesn't work. That's not how. I mean, we've seen what happened with Call of Duty when they didn't have a single player campaign. It kind of struggled. You need to launch a full package day one, day dot. They announced the multiplayer is free to play, which is massive. So single player, multiplayer, day one, ray tracing. And if the new rumor on the message boards from Resetera is true, the Xbox One version may be getting canned altogether. Now, if they do that, they should probably push it out till at least a Christmas or September, October. Give it a full 12 months. It's not going to hurt anyone, really. There's a lot of third-party games coming. Game Pass is huge at the moment. We're supposedly going to have a big third-party announcement for Game Pass. They're really pushing Game Pass. So, Flight Simulator's still coming. So there's other software to come. Battletoads just come out on the Xbox One. So there's all these games, Grounded, Gears Tactics, all these upgrades to the other games as well. So it's not like there's not going to be any games to play that aren't upgraded for Series X. There's going to be plenty there. And at the moment, I think Microsoft have 10 more exclusive games announced, timed exclusives, AA games, than Sony does at the moment. So both companies have got a fair bit coming, and it's just not going to really be from the first parties themselves, which we already discussed. Is it bad? Yes. I don't even know what else Microsoft could release early 2021 if Halo's delayed. I mean, Forza looks like it's a while away. So, yeah, they'd have to do something. Something would have to come. Whether they push to have a Master Chief Collection come out on the Series X with upgrades nice and quick to, kind of kill that void. That might be something they need to announce. And we all know that both companies have games they haven't announced yet. Like, this can't just be it. There's got to be more around the launch window that they're holding back a little bit. Otherwise, we really are relying on third-party timed exclusives to say, hey, buy a Series X or buy a PS5. But at the end of the day, we're not really going to buy these consoles for a timed exclusive. We're going to buy them for the full exclusives and the features. So I think they've taken a bit of a dip, Microsoft. Probably not their own fault. It's probably just 2020. I mean, we still haven't seen a deep dive from Sony on the console yet. There's a few things we need to know from PS5. It looks like the events for this month have both been delayed. They're both still playing price chicken with each other. There's all these rumors popping up with guessing the price of the Series X being $599. A few retailers put the PS5 up as $599. That's pricey. But then a few others have popped out after that, and it's been $499. American, we're talking American here. So you're looking $700 to $800 Australian. So end of the day, if it's $100, $150, we're all still going to buy what we want anyway. It's not going to really deter us. It's the dates. That's the main thing. I think we really want to know when in November. Is it November 6th and November 13th, like the rumors say? Can we get these consoles right now? Have our Game Pass. Sony can push Spidey, which should be a remastered version as well, and that's good. I mean, most people, if you haven't played Spider-Man, that's a perfect reason to go buy a PS5. 100%. If you have not played Spider-Man yet, that is a system seller for the PS5. 100%, hands down. Not so much Godfall and the other games both companies are touting to be, exclusives. So, as for Halo, release it when it's ready. Plain and simple. Just release it when it's ready.
And breathe.
Done.
I'm impressed, man. That was quite the rant. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I ranted. I tried to come up with
You need to get that off your chest.
Damage control.
Not at all. That's the thing. The race has changed, right? Microsoft over and over and over again have said, we're not interested in console sales. We're not interested in console sales. They want that ecosystem. So is it the end of the world that Halo isn't released at launch and therefore pushes Xbox Series X sales? From their point of view, no, because that's not what they're aiming to do. So it doesn't matter. I think it was Alana Pierce did a really good one recently where she was saying that if you want to talk about who's going to win the console war in the traditional sense, as in who gets the
Sony's already
most
won.
console sales, then yeah, PlayStation 5
won.
probably won, because that's what they're pushing. But
Yeah.
that's not what Microsoft is pushing. They're
No.
pushing more people in their services. So are people going to sign up to Game Pass no matter what? Yeah, probably. All right, with all that stuff coming.
I think it's getting traction now. I think you're getting more people talking about its value, and you know, Microsoft probably haven't made much money off it yet. It's probably still taking time for them to, you know, run a profit. It's a really weird way to run the gaming industry.
But it's the long game, isn't it?
And it's a long game.
It is a long game. And Battletoads releasing this week. You know, I'm hearing some good things. People seem really excited about it. When Flight Simulator comes to consoles, that's going to be really great.
It's killing it. So, I mean, I had a little go at that, and yeah, I mean, and not only that, you've got Tell Me Why this week as well. You've got Wasteland as well. So I know that's on other consoles, but there's other games still coming, and they all seem to be up there in quality compared to what we were getting from Crackdown.
That's great. That is really good.
And Bleeding Edge. So the quality's there. There's games there. It's just not the big AAA blockbusters we all want. But we need to take time with those things. We don't want another Sea of Thieves on our hands. Like, yeah, when it's ready, release it, and we'll all be happy. I mean, yeah.
So the current rumor, though, man, that Halo might not be coming to Xbox One. So if that would seem to take away a reason to...
turned on my Xbox One.
Has he?
You turned it on with your voice.
Xbox. Explode.
It's not exploding, but it's turned my TV and everything on. Sorry. Keep going.
I've lost my train of thought now. All right, so the rumor that Halo may not come to Xbox One. Okay, so that means that when it does release, that's a definite you need to buy the next gen at that point. That's not keeping people in your ecosystem. That is saying come to this specific console. Now, if true, do you think that's going to have any impact? Is it going to be a good thing? More people will get on the Xbox Series X train? Or do you think actually it's going to sort of hold people back? They're going to feel that they've been sort of lied to about it?
Personally, I want an Xbox One version because that's what Microsoft promised. And we all know it was developed for the Xbox One. It was never started development on the Series X. So it was always going to be held back in that regard, that it was never going to be a full Series X game. Now, they want to release it on Series X only. It can't be a Q1 2021 release. They have to delay it a full 12 months and really push it on that console. Give it a whole year of development time on the Series X. Then it's a true Series X console, and you're not being ripped. Sorry, but like Spider-Man DLC, we all know that can come on the PS4. Sony choose not to. That's traditional. I believe Microsoft are doing the same thing. Well, I would feel ripped. Like, why are you putting it on the Series X when you're already making it for the Xbox One? You know, in hindsight, it looks like it's pretty much close to go on the Xbox One. They're just struggling to get that difference, and you know, the ray tracing and the upgraded visuals and all that running smoothly. They did blame outsourcing. You know, third-party companies are helping them. It's hard with COVID. They didn't want to go through crunch. So if that's the case and you don't want it on Xbox One, then do it right. But if they do that and they release it early next year, then personally, that's bad. It's going against everything they said, in my opinion.
I hear you. Yeah. Do you think the showcase sort of made them kind of panic?
100%.
Yeah.
The feedback was negative. Because they, you know, that week it leaked, but they announced it was free multiplayer to go, It had to be damage control. I mean, there's no other, you know, they obviously had a meeting after the, you know, let's release this how it is and see how the reaction is. And unfortunately, all the PlayStation fans just, they loved it. They were just, look at the pop-up. And like,
don't bother.
That's an early build. Like, but if that's what it was going to release like, then no, you can't release that game in that state. Wouldn't be the Sony fans that are upset, because they're not going to play it anyway. They're just having a crack because they can have a crack. It's, you know,
I want to hang out with Craig anyway. He looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, the positive is we got Craig from this, so it's worked out well. And I do love how we can spin things like that, and I love how they're all using it. I think that they need to stick to their guns and release it on the Xbox One. And then the best thing is they can say, well, there you go. This is how powerful Series X is. Look how good it runs on Series X, and how good it looks, and look how it looks on the old Jaguar CPUs. I mean, and that's the big thing, the bottleneck of the old CPUs. These new CPUs on both consoles are so much better, so much better. So frame rates, power, visuals, the SSD drives, the technology is just going to make games look and play so much better. Probably play better than look is probably going to be the main thing. A lot of people are still saying, hey, where's our next gen? We've only really seen it in tech demos, so to speak, or in-game engines. We haven't really seen... personally, I think Ratchet and Clank looks more next gen than anything else we've seen. And I know it's got a lot of lighting and stuff going on, but out of everything else, it was in-engine playing in-game footage.
Medium was the other one where I was looking at it and going, that looks next gen.
Yes,
yeah,
that did too. And the visuals weren't amazing, but you could see two worlds running at the same time using the SSD on the Series X. You could see it was actually developed well. So it's interesting to see how that medium game is going to work on a PC, though. So they are touting the SSD in these consoles as the main reason Ratchet Medium can do these worlds at the same time, but we know the medium has to come to PCs, and we know not every PC has a SSD inside it. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if they come out last minute and say you have to have an SSD for this medium game to run on your PC. Mechanical drives won't work. So it's going to be interesting.
It will be.
But yeah, hopefully it does come to Xbox One. If not, delay it a full 12 months and give it the time it deserves and go from there. But if not,
make it Xbox Series X exclusive.
Yeah, what's your opinion though, as a non-Xbox owner at the moment?
All jokes aside, man, I don't want to gloat on this. This isn't fun. This is meant to be like a return to greatness for the series. It's meant to be something to get Xbox fans excited, and it's meant to be sort of, you want that sort of competitive edge, right? So I don't want anyone this is not a positive. I'm not singing and dancing from the roofs about this. But equally, I think I'm on your side. Like, if it's not ready, then wait for it to be ready.
Yeah.
And there will be other stuff that comes in. It's not unusual for the first year or 18 months of a console launch to be a little bit quiet. I mean, like PS4, when that came out, honestly, if we're being all honest with ourselves, Bloodborne was probably the first great title to get for that. And that was well over a year into it. Maybe a year and a half?
It was, yeah.
It takes 2-3 years to get a console going. Switch is probably the exception. In recent memory.
Yeah. If you were to look at recent times, I mean, if you go back, probably Nintendo are the exception. I mean, they knock it out the park. I mean, look at Mario 64, games like that. And Microsoft did it with Halo when they launched with Halo. It was huge. It was huge, but they haven't done it since then. They failed to. Like Perfect Dark, and I think Halo 3 come a fair bit later in the 360's life. It was meant to be a launch title, but it didn't make it. So, again, it's not doom and gloom. Games get delayed all the time.
It's not. I think it might...
Launch games...
In both cases, believe it or not, in both cases, it might not convince people to buy those consoles day one, maybe.
Yeah.
But
a lot of that...
months from now, year from now, yeah, maybe, for sure. It's not doom and gloom. Right?
No.
Make the game the right way. Make sure that your developers are not suffering.
Yes.
And people will wait. People waited 7 years for The Last of Us 2, and they loved every second of it.
Every single second of it. I've seen a lot of people say that Game Pass is going to fill them up. Cyberpunk's huge anyway. It gives them more time with Cyberpunk now. Get it right. But games get delayed all the time. This is not new. And launch games that are coming at system launches have been delayed before. This isn't a new thing. It's just with Microsoft being in the position they were in, this was supposed to be their first step at a comeback. So, but again, it comes back down to the systems. We're not going to be able to gauge console sales this generation at all. You just can't, because September 15th, people just start playing on their phones. So we can't really count those numbers as a if somebody's playing on their Note 20, that's not a sale or hardware sale to Microsoft, is it? It's a Game Pass software sale.
It'll switch to a daily active users type thing.
And that's what both companies have been touting lately anyway. Their users on on PlayStation, Xbox, and how many are constantly paying for monthly subscriptions, and that's where everything's heading at the moment. It's where music and film have headed, and television, and gaming seems to be going the same way.
Well, what do you guys think? Is Halo doomed? Is out of here? That's it. Microsoft is dead in the water. Or is this a good move? And it doesn't really matter because Game Pass is the main thing that's being pushed, and that's the main sort of barometer of success. Let us know in the comments below.
Let us know below, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.